Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtike. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya. Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatyanti Shatari Panchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 21, Text 17. Lokamscha lokanugatan pashumscha hitva shritaste charana tapatram parasparam tvad gunavada siddhu puyusha niryapita deha dharma. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. However, persons who have given up stereotyped worldly affairs and the beastly followers of these affairs and who have taken shelter of the umbrella of your lotus feet by drinking the intoxicating nectar of your qualities and activities in discussions with one another can be freed from the primary necessities of the material body. Here, so nice. Kardamamuni is saying, taking shelter of the umbrella of the lotus feet. The Lord's lotus feet are like an umbrella. Miseries are raining cats and dogs, you know. Cats and dogs means like really, when it's heavy rain doesn't stop. So the Lord's lotus feet are like an umbrella. So this devotees have taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. It's like an umbrella. And how have they taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord? They're drinking the intoxicating nectar of your qualities and activities in discussions with one another. Means hearing and chanting the glories of Krishna in the association of devotees. The glories of Krishna is like nectar, intoxicating nectar, and the devotees are feeling more and more intoxicated by chanting the qualities and chanting the pastimes, the leelas of the Lord in association, in the association of the sadhus. And so they are feeling intoxicated by drinking the nectar. You know, when we drink some nectarian beverage, then you feel high over it. Like if you have too much of the honey or something, then you feel like so blissful. So the devotees are feeling this nectar by taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. And then because they're so absorbed in hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord, describing the wonderful, wonderful qualities of Krishna, the sweet qualities of Krishna, the nectarian qualities of Krishna. They don't feel the misery of this material world. So, reading from the purport. After describing the necessity of married life, Kardama Muni asserts that marriage and other social affairs are stereotyped regulations for persons who are addicted to material sense enjoyment. The principles of animal life, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, are actually necessities of the body. But those who engage in transcendental Krishna consciousness, giving up all the stereotyped activities of this material world, are freed from social conventions. Conditioned souls are under the spell of material energy or eternal time, past, present, and future. But as soon as one engages in Krishna consciousness, he transcends the limits of past and present and becomes situated in the eternal activities of the soul. So we are here conditioned. We are conditioned living entities. And we are conditioned as we are in this material body. So there are the necessities of the body: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. These are necessities. Now, the pure devotees, when they are engaged in hearing and chanting, they are engaged in hearing and chanting, they are engaged in service of the Lord, then they are situated in the eternal activities of the soul, because that is what the activity of the soul is. So liberation means, okay, I give up my material body and I'm situated on the platform of the soul. So the soul is always active. And what does the soul do then? What does the soul do? Soul is always active, always hearing and chanting, always engaging in loving relationship with Krishna. So that's how the liberated persons, they transcend the limit of past and present, means they're beyond this body and the soul within is acting. So one has to act in terms of the Vedic injunctions in order to enjoy material life. But those who have taken to the devotional service of the Lord are not afraid of the regulations of this material world. Such devotees do not care for the conventions of material activities. They boldly take to that shelter, which is like an umbrella against the sun of repeated birth and death. So taking shelter of the Supreme Lord. In here, what is spoken about is the devotees who have taken complete shelter of the Supreme Lord, completely surrendered to the Lord. Constant transmigration of the soul from one body to another is the cause of suffering in material existence. This conditional life in material existence is called samsara. We are changing. We know that our time in this body is limited. It's limited. Time is ticking. And at one point, we will have to give up this body. And that is the cause of suffering. It's not easy to give up the body. We are so attached to the body. How to just give it up? It is a source of great suffering. And then we take up another body. Then we get attached to that. And that is samsara, cycle of birth and death. One may perform good work and take his birth in a very nice material condition. But the process under which the birth and death take place is like a terrible fire. We might say, it's okay, I can't remember birth. Why you say birth is difficult? And death is not difficult every time. Many people leave the bodies peacefully. We say left peacefully, but it's like a terrible fire. Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in his prayer to the spiritual master, has described this. Samsara, or the repetition of birth and death, is compared to a forest fire. A forest fire takes place automatically without anyone's endeavor by the friction of dried wood, and no fire department or sympathetic person can extinguish it. So here Prabhupada is mentioning of the Guruvashtakam. Guruvashtakam, which is composed by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is one of the great acharyas, and he has sung this prayer, Samsara Dava. So samsara, repetition of birth and death, he's saying, is like a forest fire. No one starts it. You know, in the forest fire rages for days and days, and then the fire, it like almost destroys so much part of the fire of the forest. But nobody actually goes and starts it. It just happens by the friction of the wood. And then people try to control it. It's very difficult to control. Very difficult unless there's like huge downpour of rain. So the raging forest fire can be extinguished only when there is constant downpour of water from a cloud. The cloud is compared to the mercy of the spiritual master. By the grace of the spiritual master, the cloud of the mercy of the personality of Godhead is brought in. And then only when the rains of Krishna consciousness fall, can the fire of material existence be extinguished. So, you know, we don't even realize that this material world is like a forest fire. We say, why do you call it a forest fire? It's a nice place. I'm enjoying here. But those who are learned, those who can actually see, they understand. They understand that we are just getting, we are chewing the chewed and feeling happy in that. And when we feel the suffering, then really we get some kind of a semblance. Oh yeah, it's really like a forest fire. And then what Prabhupada is saying, that how can we extinguish it? When we get the mercy of the bona fide spiritual master. How? Because the bona fide spiritual master is giving us the mercy of Lord Krishna. And it's only by the mercy of Lord Krishna can we put an end to the cycle of birth and death. This is also explained here. In order to find freedom from the stereotyped conditional life of material existence, one has to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, not in the manner in which impersonalists indulge, but in devotional service, chanting and hearing of the activities of the Lord. Only then can one be freed from the actions and reactions of material existence. So when we are hearing and chanting, there's the holy name is burning up so many of our sins. It's burning up. So it's burning up our reaction. Otherwise, we would have had to be here for so many other millions of lives. And so that's the reason we are always, the devotees tell us, take deep shelter of the holy name. Chant, begging for the shelter, the mercy of the holy name. So it is recommended here that one should give up the conditional life of this material world and the association of so-called civilized human beings who are simply following in a polished way the same stereotype principles of eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Chanting and hearing of the glories of the Lord is described here as Tvad Guna Vadu Siddhu. Vada Siddhu. Only by drinking the nectar of chanting and hearing the pastimes of the Lord can one forget the intoxication of material existence. So we have been saying how to give up our attachment to the material world. Take deep shelter of the holy name. Cry out to the holy name. When we are chanting the holy name, make the effort, the endeavor to hear the holy name. Hearing the pastimes of the Lord with attention, with submission. And then the more we hear and chant, the more our material attachments will go away. Because Krishna is in the heart. Krishna is in the heart. The more we are hearing and chanting, Krishna within our heart, he keeps cleaning up our material desires. He keeps cleaning. And so that's why it's always recommended for us that take shelter of hearing and chanting. Any comments or anything to add? And then the more we take shelter of the holy name, the more we take shelter of hearing the pastimes of the Lord, the more happy we feel, the more blissful we feel. It's blissful to hear and chant the glories of the Lord in the association of devotees. The heart feels good, you feel happy, feel energized. Kinate Jaraksha Brahmir Ayuresham Trayo Dasharam Trishatam Shasti Parva Sannemi Ananta Chadi Yatrinabi Karala Sroto Jagad Achidya Dhavat. Your wheel, which has 3 naves, rotates around the axis of the imperishable Brahman. It has 13 spokes, 360 joints, 6 rims, and numberless leaves carved upon it. Though its revolution cuts short the lifespan of the entire creation, this wheel of tremendous velocity cannot touch the lifespan of the devotees of the Lord. The time factor cannot affect the lifespan of the devotees. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that a little execution of devotional service saves one from the greatest danger. The greatest danger is transmigration of the soul from one body to another. And only by devotional service to the Lord can, and only devotional service to the Lord can stop this process. So this samsara, giving up the cycle of birth and death, how can we give that up? It's only by engaging in Krishna consciousness, only by bhakti, devotional service, which begins by hearing and chanting. And that can save us. And this transmigration is called danger. We don't even realize it's a danger. We say, what's the big deal, you know? Okay, I'll give up this body, I'll take up another body. We don't understand why is the danger, because we don't know what is the another type of body we will get. Will we be able to get a body in which we have the opportunity to engage in devotional service? So we are advised at least start devotional service in this life. And then, even if you're not able to perfect it, even if you have to take up another body, at least you will get another body in which you can continue this process of devotional service. And in this way, achieve perfection and get out of this material world. And that's the reason the authorities say that take up this process is a matter of urgency, because we don't know when we are going to give up the body. And if we have never engaged in devotional service, never engaged in hearing and chanting, then we don't know what body we are getting in the next life. So we are losing that opportunity, that window that we get. It is stated in the Vedic literatures, Harim Vina na mritim taranti. Without the mercy of the Lord, one cannot stop the cycle of birth and death. So we might think, I can stop this cycle of birth and death by my own endeavor. But all Vedic literatures, it is stated, is not possible. It's only by the mercy of the Lord. Only by the mercy of the Lord. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that only by understanding the transcendental nature of the Lord and his activities, his appearance and disappearance, can one stop the cycle of death and go back to him. So Krishna says, Tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mamso iti Arjuna. Janma karma chame divyam. That one who understands Krishna's appearance, Krishna's activities, Krishna's tattva, transcendental nature. Not that, yeah, I know, Krishna, oh yeah, he was someone, he had a lot of girlfriends and gopis and he did some Ras Leela. I know Krishna. No, that is not knowing Krishna in truth. That's not understanding Krishna's position. But if we try to understand Krishna's position, who is he? What is his position? And then we will be able to understand his activities, his appearance and disappearance. And Krishna says, just by understanding, you don't need to come back to this material world. Just by understanding, we do not have to take up any difficult things, any difficult process. No, we just have to simply try to understand about the Lord. So we just have to simply, attentively, and submissively hear from Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and we can go back to the spiritual world. We do not need to continue to be in this material world. We can get liberation. It's so easy. Krishna has made it easy. He does not want it to be difficult. That just by hearing chanting. Of course, the process is there. The process is easy, but then it's difficult because we are very attached to our mind and senses. So that part is difficult because many people say, oh, bhakti is too easy. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to take up something which is more difficult. But then if something's easy, better take something which is easy. Why to do something difficult, right? So following the rules and regulations, that becomes difficult. Giving up our ego, that becomes difficult. Why should I hear about Krishna, So that is the difficult part. But otherwise, the process is simple. The time factor is divided into many fractions of moments, hours, months, years, periods, seasons, etc. All the divisions in this verse are determined according to the astronomical calculations of Vedic literature. There are 6 seasons called ritus, and there is a period of 4 months called chaturmasya. So there is 6 seasons, and there is chaturmasya. The 3 periods of 4 months complete 1 year. So in 1 year, because there are 12 months, it's divided into 4, 4, 4. According to Vedic astronomical calculations, there are 13 months. The 13th month is called Adhi Mas or Mal Mas, and it is added every 3rd year because of the lunar calendar. The way the lunar calendar goes, it keeps on adding a few days every year. And then how to adjust this extra? That's why we have the Purushottam month, the Adhik Mas. Every few years it comes, every 2-3 years, to adjust, to make that adjustment. The time factor, however, cannot touch the lifespan of the devotees. In another verse, it is stated that when the sun rises and sets, it takes away the life of all living entities, but it cannot take away the life of those who are engaged in devotional service. So does it mean that devotees don't need to leave the body? That they will be living in this body eternally? No, it means that they are acting on the platform of the soul. And so that's the reason, because time does not have its deteriorating effect on the soul. The soul is eternal. The activities of the soul are eternal. So in that way, we can understand that time factor does not touch the devotees. And also by setting, it is said that it takes by the rising and setting of the sun, it takes away the life of all living entities except the devotees. So because life is also calculated by what do we achieve while we are in this body. And so it's noticed that devotees, when they actually take up the process of hearing and chanting other devotional practices, then what happens is even their material duties, they're able to do it in a better way. They're able to achieve much more, even materially, than it was possible without them taking up the process of devotional service. So that achievement they're getting in one life, what they could have achieved, what otherwise would have been able to achieve in many, many lives. So in that way, it's said also that it cannot take away the life of those who are engaged in devotional service. So time is compared here to a big wheel which has 360 joints, 6 rims in the shape of the seasons. So 360 joints means the days, and then the rims are the seasons, and number leaves in the shape of moments. So the leaves are the moments. It rotates on the eternal existence, Brahman, the time, the Kal Chakra. This is the Kal Chakra being described. It's on the eternal existence, Brahman. Brahman is eternal. Time is eternal. It keeps on rotating, never ends. Is that okay? Any comments or questions?
Said that the setting of the sun doesn't take away the span of devotee. So is it because that what we are doing devotional and we are connecting to Krishna?
Yes, because it's on the platform of the soul, right?
Yeah, so that's why it doesn't take away, because that moment, what we are doing devotion service, we are with Krishna.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the currency.
Yeah, and that's eternal.
And that's eternal, and that's the currency to go back to him.
And yes, and go back to him. And also because it's the eternal activity of the soul. You see, all the devotional activities, we are using this body, but it is the soul. You know, we're using, yes, sure, we are using this body. But that is actually the activity of the soul, hearing and chanting. That's what the soul eternally does. What are the Brajvasis doing? You know, oh, Krishna did this today. Oh, you know, Krishna did that today. Oh, let me make butter for Krishna. Krishna was looking so beautiful. So they're always hearing and chanting and dancing, having prasad. So these are the eternal activities. And so that's why time has no control over it. And that's the reason a devotee keeps saying the prayer by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that he shows us the mood of the devotee. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam, vajagadisha kamaye. Mama janmani janmaishware bhavatad bhaktir ahaituki toi. That I do not want any number of followers. I do not want wealth. I don't want women. I only just want your devotional service, pure devotional service. Your devotional service, birth after birth. That's all he wants. Why? Because it's on a liberated platform. It's liberation. When we engage in devotional service, pure devotional service, it's liberation, because that is the eternal activity of the soul. That means going back to Godhead. So it's the eternal activity.
As you mentioned, na janam na dhanam, there was this lecture by Keshavanand Prabhu, and he was saying that just before, before 15th century Maya, this is mentioned in one of the books written by one of the acharyas. I can share the lecture. It was just 10 minutes. So he said that there was a conference going on of Maya and everything, that how can we control this world, how to impact it. And then they found this verse of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that no janam na dhanam. So they are the four legs. So they said that let's break them only. Otherwise, if we make people atheist, sometime they might turn back again in God people. But if we just break these legs, then there is no way of them coming back. So he was mentioning that how he did that, the selfie is that you are self-obsessed. So you are busy in taking selfies. And he explained it very well. It's just a 10 minutes. So he said that there was a conference going on of Maya. And he said that now let's plan how we'll control everything. How can these people, we have to control them. And then he mentioned that the Facebook and everything that you are posting and you're feeling so these are all the things that is connected to Maya. So he said that try to be in contact as less as possible. So I'll share that. It's a 10-minute lecture. I mean, I'll share that with you.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, it's so true. Like yesterday,
maybe you all will like
it. I conscious and change it to Krishna conscious. I was just thinking of that on that thought. We are so much more I conscious. We have iPhone, we have iPad, we have, Like all the I, and also, as you know, we put our photos on social media, so it keeps on. We're getting more and more eye conscious. Oh, how am I looking? I want to show how am I looking. So we are getting more and more eye conscious rather than getting Krishna conscious.
Yeah, and he also said one more thing, that how they plan that let's attack the people of the world by music, culture, and science. So they used that to take them away from God. Like how people believe that there is no God. It just happened, the creation happened on its own. So scientists are preaching this and we are believing it. So we are away from God. And then the pictures of the gods have been painted in wrong ways.
Oh, yeah.
So yes,
Oh,
we are
yeah.
not believing in them. And then we are singing whatever we want without even knowing the meanings. And so yes, we have broken everything. But yeah, again, if you have mercy, as we read the shelter, and like as we read yesterday, if you have the shelter, Bhagyavan Jeev.
Yeah.
So
yeah, so we are very fortunate. We are beginning to understand. Oh, we are beginning to understand. Oh, let me hear and chant, you know. I think it might be good for me. So a little bit we are trying to.
and then he said that you should be scared of Maya Devi. She's very, very grateful. So don't forget to pray to her every single day. She's very powerful.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah, so thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So just, yeah, what can we do? Just hear and chant, you know. What can we do? Take out some time every day. Take out some time every day to hear, to chant. Encourage others to hear and chant. So then at least we have some hope.
Yeah, there's a food for our soul.
Yeah, food for the soul. Yeah. Yeah, it's true. And that's the reason all the Shastra says Kali Yuga Dharma Harinam Sankirtan, because they know we are Kali Yuga people, you know, they know we are not capable of doing much. We don't have much, we don't have long lives, our minds are so disturbed, we are addicted to many, you know, these activities we shouldn't be doing. So that's why the Shastras, Krishna is kind, no? So then he's making this, he's giving us this most easy process. He's saying you just hear and chant. That's all. You know, just hear and chant. Lord Chaitanya says, Yare dekha tare kaha Krishna Upadesh. Just hear and chant, encourage others to hear and chant. You know, don't give up, don't give up the hope. Don't give up, don't become like morose. You know, just hear and chant and be happy in that we are getting this opportunity. So we'll stop here for today. Thank you so much for listening in. Thank you for joining in. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.